Chapter 5. No Way Out. No. Holly stared at Annabeth in disbelief. That's not possible. It's been a week. There's no way. It can't. Her voice trailed off into incoherent muttering. Allie. Annabeth placed a hand on the girl's shoulder. Time works differently down here. She drew her knees close to her chest. When Percy and I found an entrance at camp, it felt like we were in here for 5 minutes, but outside it had been 2 hours. No. Allie cradled her face in her hands and shook her head. No, no, no. A shiver rushed through her body. This can't be happening. Annabeth turned so she was sitting on the side of her legs and hugged her friend. I'm so sorry, Allie. Allie's mind was swirling too wildly for her to return Annabeth's embrace. There was too much happening, too much information, too much lost. First Percy, and now this. She sank into Annabeth's warm hug. She wanted to fall apart, just give up. She couldn't take it anymore. But that was what Luke wanted, what Kronos wanted. She couldn't let them win. Pulling away from Annabeth, she met the daughter of Athena's gaze. We need to get back to camp. Chiron needs to know. He does, Annabeth assured. Allie shook her head. I'm not talking about the labyrinth. There's something else. Something worse. As she was about to explain, her injured leg slid on the loose earth and pain thundered through her. She flinched and keeled over, fighting the urge to vomit. After her initial shock, Annabeth jumped into action. She pulled a canteen from her backpack. Uncapping it, she poured the contents over Allie's leg. The liquid burned, and Allie realized that it was nectar. Weirdly, the blazing sensation both increased and eased her pain at the same time. It was like being simultaneously submerged in both lava and water. It wasn't exactly pleasant, but Allie knew it would be worth it later. The final drips from the canteen were the worst, pushing the limits of how much nectar her body could take. They burned 5 times stronger than the rest of it. 1 or 2 of them left raw, blistered skin in their wake. Annabeth cringed at the sight. Sorry, I guess I overdid it a little. Allie sucked down a long breath. It's fine. She tentatively flexed her leg. The pain had significantly decreased. To be honest, I barely feel the burns. She chuckled at her own joke. Annabeth tried to smile, but her concern was obvious. Come on. She offered Allie her hand. We should get moving. The nectar had worn off, and Allie's leg was screaming at her. The slightest pressure triggered a wave of pain that pulsed through her whole body, forcing her to pause and catch her breath. Progress was slow as Annabeth half dragged her through the tunnels. They weren't sure where they were going. They just needed an exit. They could figure it out from there. Annabeth scanned every inch of the corridors as they trudged slowly through the labyrinth. It wasn't easy since the tunnels weren't very well lit. There were stretches lost in complete darkness. Soon, the hope of finding an exit waned. Suddenly, Annabeth stopped. Her eyes lit up. Stay here for a minute. Allie leaned against the wall as Annabeth frantically searched the walls and ceiling of the tunnel. Finally, she froze, holding her breath. Tentatively, she touched the grimy wall. A Greek delta glowed a pale blue and an opening appeared in the ceiling. A rusty old ladder bolted to the walls was the only way up. Allie's heart leapt in her chest. Finally, an escape. It had been 6 months since she'd seen anything beyond the walls of the labyrinth. 6 months since she'd felt the sun. 6 months since she'd seen the real world. A soft breeze wafted through the hatch to greet them. Allie closed her eyes as she inhaled the fresh air. Annabeth touched her shoulder. Ready? Allie met her gaze. I'm so beyond ready. Annabeth smiled. Me too. They walked over to stand beneath the opening. Annabeth laced her fingers together and bent over. Allie took a deep breath. This is going to hurt. She carefully placed her injured leg in Annabeth's clasped hands. 1, Annabeth counted. 2, Allie steeled herself. 3, Annabeth lifted with all her strength, heaving Allie up towards the hole. Allie suppressed a scream as she grabbed the edge of the exit and pulled herself up. Her muscles burned and her leg throbbed painfully as she dragged herself out of the labyrinth. She lay on the ground, gulping down long breaths. A laugh slipped out. A happy, disbelieving laugh. Soon, Annabeth knelt beside her, panting. "We made it." Allie sat up and examined their surroundings. They were sitting on the grass in the middle of an abandoned park. Stars glittered above, and a full moon illuminated the scattered trees and park benches. She looked at Annabeth. The daughter of Athena took in every detail of the park before turning to Allie. "Central Park, New York City. We got lucky." Allie dropped back into the grass, joyful tears springing to her eyes. They were almost home. Allie sat on the bus, doing her best to conceal her shredded, bloodied pant leg. Annabeth had wanted to get some new clothes, but they didn't have time. Besides, at this point, Allie's pants were basically fused to her leg from the dried blood and pus. On top of that, her calf was swollen. When the bus eventually stopped, Annabeth helped her off of the vehicle, holding their backpacks strategically to hide the ugly spiraled wound. As the bus rode away, the girls sized up their next task, climbing Half-Blood Hill. Allie didn't think anything could be more painful than her journey up the hill towards Thalia's tree. Every part of her body hurt. She couldn't take a step without causing a fresh surge of pain. Finally, they reached the top of the hill and collapsed in the grass. The pain coursing through Allie's body blurred her vision and left her shaken. Annabeth caught her as her arms buckled and she fell. The last thing she saw was a blurry silhouette galloping towards them.